Hello world, today we are going to walk through settings of Google Chrome OS. It begins with network settings where you can select and connect to the network you want. In the Bluetooth settings, we can connect to various Bluetooth devices, for example mouse, keyboard, or earbuds, etc. In accounts settings, we can manage our signed-in accounts and log into new accounts. We also have the parental control options here. Then there are device settings, and at number 1 is keyboard and input. In here we can change some settings of the built-in keyboard, like changing top row keys of the keyboard to function keys or vice versa, using search key for function switching of top row, customizing keys, showing accent marks in special characters, options for key repeating, and input options. The stylus options contain adding stylus tools to the shelf. These tools are screen capture, an option to create notes. Then there are laser pointer and magnifying glass options. Back to the stylus settings, we can select which app to use for note taking. Then there are display settings, which contains options for changing display size, screen orientation, and options for night light. The audio settings are really generic, with options for speaker selection, volume control slider, input devices, and sound options. And lastly, there are options for print and scan. In wallpaper and style settings, we can change screen wallpaper, set accent colors, and select between light mode, dark mode, or auto. And then there is a vast collection of screensaver options. In privacy and security settings, the first option is privacy controls. Here we can enable access for camera and mic. Then there is an option where we can select whether we want to share crash reports and diagnostic data with Google or not. And the last option enables content recommendations. This option also sends some usage data to the Chrome OS servers. In Sync and Google services, we can manage what we want to sync. We can review our synced data. Then there are settings for encryption, and lastly we have an option to enable Google's enhanced spell checker. In lock screen settings, we can enable the option to lock the screen when the computer goes to sleep or lid is closed. The next option is for setting up lock screen PIN and changing the password. And lastly, there is an option for local data recovery, which is not available for my system. And then we have the options for manage other people in the system if available, an option to enable improvement for Chrome OS Flex, which also shares hardware data with Google, an option for enabling verified access, and lastly there are network security settings like secure connections and DNS settings. App settings, we can manage all our installed apps. We can uninstall the app, we can pin an app to the shelf, and then we can control the permissions for any app. notification settings, we can manage notifications for any app, like enabling or disabling the notifications. Then we have the options for enabling Do Not Disturb mode and notification badges for the apps. Accessibility options are quite similar to those in Android. First one enables accessibility shortcut in the quick settings. The second one is the text-to-speech options. In the display and magnification settings, the first one is color correction. Here we have various options to make adjustments to screen colors. Then there is an option to invert screen colors. The next option enables magnification to make the display appears larger. Then there is a dock magnifier. The reduced animations minimize the movements of windows or menus. The display settings takes you to the same display settings as in main settings. Here we can adjust display and text size and the screen orientation. And there is night light, which makes filters blue color and makes your screen easier for eyes in darker environments. You can also adjust the quantity of filtration. The website text size and font option opens Chrome browsers and built appearance settings, where we can adjust various options. Then we have the system preferences, where the first setting is storage management. We can find out how much storage is in use, and we have various options to see which files or apps are consuming the storage. In power options, we can see the remaining battery time, but there is no way to know which app has consumed how much battery, like in Android. There is a battery saver, which limits battery consumption by reducing screen brightness and limit background activities. Then there are various options for sleep and what to do when lid is closed. Next, we have settings for language and date and time. Next, we have file options, where we can sign in and link various online storage accounts. We also have search settings, where we can enable Google Assistant. The startup options enables welcome recap, which is used to continue from same position where we shut down. Then there's a split screen suggestions option, and finally the power wash option resets all the Chrome OS. Finally, in About Chrome OS, we can update the system, see what's new in the updates, get help, and share feedback. There is a great system diagnostics app which displays usage of various system resources. The battery section shows remaining time, battery health, charge cycle count, and current in milliamperes. The CPU section displays CPU usage in percentage, CPU temperature, and real-time speed in gigahertz. And then there is a memory section displaying amount of memory being used. The connectivity section displays various diagnostics related to the network. And finally, there's the keyboard section, which can be used to test the built-in keyboard. Back to the Settings app, the About section also contains the firmware updates for hardware devices connected to the laptop. An additional details update channel can be used to enable beta updates. And we can also set up Linux environment to enable Linux apps. So viewers, we have gone through all the settings in Chrome OS. Hopefully you have liked the video. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.